Now the army of Aisha drew near, came right to the outskirts of Basra, and they camped there at a place known as Al-Marbad. So Uthman ibn Hunayf, the governor, he came out with his army and they camped right in front of them. So he didn't want to let them to enter Basra. Now when the armies got near each other, Talha radiallahu anhu got up and he started talking to the people, explaining why they had come. After he spoke his army, they started to yell, "Sadaqt, Sadaqt, a truthful speech, you have spoken the truth." So when the people of Fitna and the army of Uthman, the governor of Basra, heard them, and why were the people of Fitna in the army of Uthman? Because if you remember, the groups left from Basra, groups left from Kufa, and they went to Medina. And some people remained in control of Medina, while others returned back to Basra. So now some of the people of Fitna were in the army of Basra, facing the army of the mothers of the believers, and Talha and Zubair. So some of them were in the army of Uthman, the governor. And when they heard the army of Talha telling him, "Sadaqt, you have spoken the truth," they said, "Bal kadhabt wa fajart," you have lied. And they started to curse and to cuss at Talha radiallahu anhu. So then Zubair radiallahu anhu got up to speak, and he wanted to encourage them to join their cause. And when he was done, his army told him, "Sadaqt wa barart." And then the people of Fitna responded, "Bal kadhabt wa fajart." No respect for the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. So then when Aisha radiallahu anha saw differences to this degree, she asked to speak. And everyone was quiet. And she gave a powerful khutbah. And we said before, she had a strong and loud voice. So she gave a powerful khutbah. And she said that the truth is that we have not come to remove nor to challenge Uthman ibn Hunayf, but how can we keep quiet about the blood of Uthman? And he was killed in the month that is haram, in the land that is haram. And after her speech, the army of Uthman ibn Hunayf split in two. The speech was so strong that the army that came to stop them from entering Basra split in two now. Part of the army said, "Sadaqti wa bararti," you've spoken the truth. And a group said, "Bal kadhabat wa fajarat," and she is the mother of the believers. And they're speaking like that. Now the two groups in the army of Uthman ibn Hunayf started to insult each other. Because now the army split. Part of them now are on the side of the mother of the believers, and others are with the governor. So they start to insult each other. Meanwhile, the army of Mecca is just watching this other army now breaking apart. And then Hukaym ibn Jabala, remember him, the thief amongst the people of Fitna, saw that the army of Mecca is increasing. People now leaving the army of Basra and joining the army of Mecca. He feared that if everyone joins them, they're going to be uncovered. The people of Fitna are going to be the only ones. And then they're going to be destroyed. So he and those who are with him immediately got up and started the fighting. They attacked the army of Talha and Zubair and Aisha radiallahu anha. So then Aisha ordered the soldiers to hold back and to defend themselves only, but not to kill them. And Hukaym ibn Jabala had ordered those with him to attack fiercely. And Aisha keeps ordering people to pull back, because they were not there to fight them. So they kept pulling back and just defending until nighttime came, and then the two armies separated. So now Aisha radiallahu anha wanted to consult with those in her army what to do. So they decided to move to another place, and whoever wants to join them comes there to join them. So news of this reaches Hukaym ibn Jabala, the thief amongst the people of Fitna, and he gets those who are with him ready to fight again. He doesn't want the situation to calm down, people can think and then clearly go join the army, and then that leaves them uncovered. So every time things are going to calm down, he's going to start the fighting. So he tells those who are with him to get ready, and right after Fajr they attack again. And the battle remained from Fajr until Dhuhr. And until now the army of Aisha radiallahu anha, they're only defending themselves. But then when they saw that the others insist on killing them, Talha and Zubair radiallahu anhuma ordered they should fight back. So they start to fight back. And then the losses start to come down on the army of Hukaym ibn Jabala, who's amongst the army of Uthman ibn Hunayf. And notice that Uthman radiallahu anhu, the governor, never ordered the attack, but the people of Fitna are the ones who started the attack. So many of people were wounded from the army of Aisha radiallahu anha, but many people died from the army of Hukaym. And when they felt that they're going to be defeated, they asked for peace. And then Aisha radiallahu anha immediately stopped the fighting. Usually other armies, if the other one is asking for peace because they're being defeated, they continue crushing them. But because they didn't come out to fight, Aisha immediately called for them to stop fighting. So then they began to negotiate. And Uthman ibn Hunayf sent to them, saying, aren't you bound by a pledge to Ali? So why don't we wait for the decision of the Khalifa? So they said, we have no bay'ah. He said, yes there is, you did make a bay'ah. They said, our bay'ah was by force. He said, I received news that you made bay'ah. So then the discussion becomes whether their bay'ah was by force or by their own decision. So they said to Uthman ibn Hunayf, if we really were coerced into giving the bay'ah, are we not correct in wanting to avenge the death of Uthman? He said, yes. If you were forced to give the bay'ah, you didn't give it out of your own will, then you're correct that you can ask to avenge the death of Uthman. Because if you don't give the bay'ah, you're not governed by the Khalifa. You have to wait on the Khalifa. Then they said, what if it's proven that you gave the pledge and you gave it on your own decision? They said, if that's the case, then the decision is that of the Khalifa and we are in the wrong and we will pull back. So this shows you also their intention, that had they pledged to Ali, they would have obeyed him. But they felt that they were free to act because they didn't pledge to Ali. So they were free to act as they would like. They weren't governed by having to obey Ali radiallahu anhu. So this now is the agreement. So they wrote out an agreement and they sent a man by the name of Ka'b ibn Sur. Ka'b ibn Sur, he was a judge, the judge of Basra. And he was a pious man and he was a great scholar. So Ka'b ibn Sur radiallahu anhu goes to Medina with the intent to investigate. Basically, they sent him to see if when Talha and Zubair pledged, were they forced to do it or did they pledge on their own accord? Because if they were forced to pledge, then they have the right to ask and seek the murders of Uthman. But if they pledged of their own will, then they don't have the right to do that and they have to wait on the decision of the Khalifa. So Ka'b ibn Sur radiallahu anhu goes to Medina to investigate. And when he arrives there, Ali is not there, obviously. Because remember, he went out with his army to stop Talha and Zubair. He's still on his way there. So the people gathered because of his arrival. He arrives on the day of the Jumu'ah. And he was known, his position was known amongst the Muslims. So the people gathered to hear what he's going to say. So he said, O people of Medina, I am the messenger of the people of Al-Basra to you. Then he asked them, did the people coerce Talha and Zubair upon the pledge to Ali? Or did they come out of their own will? And no one responds. The whole masjid and no one responds to him. And why is that? Because the people of Fitna are still in charge of Medina. And if you speak, you'll get killed. And they're the only ones with weapons, as before. So then he asked them by Allah. He told them, I asked you by Allah. You have to answer me or fighting will break out and much killing will happen. You have to answer me. So then Usama ibn Zayd radiallahu anhu stands up and says, Allahumma innahuma lam yubayi'a illa wa huma karihan. They did not pledge except while they were coerced, they were forced. So then a man by the name of Tammam, one of the leaders of the people of Fitna, he gets up and he raises his sword to kill Usama ibn Zayd. The governor of Medina, Sahl ibn Hunayf, he gets up and he stops him. And the people get up to stop him. He wants to kill Usama ibn Zayd. And the people of the Fitna get up to kill Usama ibn Zayd. And he was saved by Suhaib al-Rumi radiallahu anhu. He pulls him, he physically has to pull him out of the people. And Muhammad ibn Muslim and others, they pulled him and they aid, others from the Sahaba, they aided in pulling him out of the masjid. And Suhaib took him to his home. He takes him to his house and he says to him, what is this? You speak in a situation in which you know you'll be killed. He tells him, didn't what suffice us of silence suffice you? We were content with being silenced. Why weren't you? So then Usama ibn Zayd radiallahu anhu says, La wallah, I would not see the situation to get to what it became and stay quiet. And I'm not going to wait and let people get killed and stay quiet. So Ka'b ibn Sur takes this response and he goes back to Al-Basra. So Sahl ibn Hunayf immediately sent news of what happened to Ali radiallahu anhu. And Ali knows that if Ka'b goes to Al-Basra with this news, all of them are going to join the army of Mecca. So immediately he sends a letter to Ka'b ibn Sur. And he tells them that I heard of what has happened, but even if they pledged in this way, who did they pledge to? He's asking him. They pledged not to the people of Fitna. They pledged to me. And what do they want now? Do they want to be the Khulafa? If that's the case, let them announce that. Otherwise, they have to obey the Khalifa, even if they were forced. So Ali radiallahu anhu is trying to convince Ka'b ibn Sur not to go with this news to Basra. It's only going to cause more problems. But Ka'b ibn Sur never receives this letter, and he reaches al-Basra before the letter of Ali reaches him. So people came to ask Uthman ibn Hunayf. Now they're telling him that according to our agreement, when we said we're going to investigate, and now the result of the investigation comes back, he says, according to our agreement, Talha and Zubair are in the right. And Uthman ibn Hunayf, the governor, tells him, I have received a letter from Amir al-Mu'mineen and it tells me this and this, these are the orders in it, and I'm going to obey him. So the people were divided. Some joined the army of Mecca and some stayed with the army of Uthman ibn Hunayf. So the people of Fitna saw that things are not in their favor now. People, after the investigation of Ka'b ibn Sur, are starting to join the army of Mecca. So they started to think, how can they get out of this situation? So the only way to get out of this situation, they got Hukaym ibn Jabala and some others of the murderers of Uthman, and Bani Abdul Qais, who were the allies of Hurqus ibn Zuhair, one of also the murderers of Uthman, joined them, and they began the fighting again. And every time things are about to settle down, they start to fight again. And then fierce fighting takes place. And Aisha radiallahu anha is calling them to stop, and they refuse. And she orders a man to go out and to yell, to say, we only want the murderers of Uthman. We will not fight except with those who killed Uthman. Whoever did not take part in the murder of Uthman, let him leave the battlefield. Of course, if he says this, the people of Fitna are going to be uncovered immediately. They're going to all be killed. So the man goes out to say this, and as soon as he does, Hukaym ibn Jabala gets to him and he kills him. So then the fierce fighting continues. And many people are killed. And Hukaym ibn Jabala, he was a fierce warrior, but a man from the army of Mecca was able to reach him. And the man got him and he cut off his leg. He cut off Hukaym's leg. One of the people of Fitna. So then his leg fell off. So he fell off his horse. And then this man comes to finish him off, but Hukaym got up and he took his leg, his cut leg, and he hits the man in the face. And then he comes crawling to the man and he cuts off his head. So he's not able to move anymore because he has one leg, so he sits on top of this man. He sits on top of him. So then a friend of Hukaym came and he said to him, "Oh Hukaym, who hurt you? Who is the one who did this to you?" And he says, "My wisada, my cushion," meaning the one I'm sitting on now, is my cushion now. So then he got up on one leg and he hopped, and he started hopping, and 70 people gathered around him. And he encourages them to fight, and he tells them never to surrender. So the fighting grows even more fierce. And a man from Bani Abdul Qais heard Hukaym ibn Jabala murmuring something. So he said, "What are you saying?" And he finds Hukaym cursing Aisha radiallahu anha. So the man tells him, "You son of a khabitha, you son of a wicked woman, you cursed the mother of the believers?" So then Hukaym took a spear and he killed this man, the man who heard him say that. So this made Bani Abdul Qais leave the battlefield, because he kills one of them. They're coming there to support him, he kills one of them, so they leave the battlefield. And they're not willing to support to a degree where they start to curse the wife of the Prophet ﷺ. So then Hukaym dies. And as these events unfurl, the people of Fitna are uncovered now. So the army of Mecca starts to kill the people of Fitna left and right. So they ran. So Aisha called to their people and to their tribes, saying, we only want the murderers of Uthman, so hand them over to us. And each tribe started to hand over those of its kinsmen who took part in the murder of Uthman. They would pull them from their feet. Their people from their tribe, pull them from their feet and give them to the army of Mecca. And they killed all 600 men. So, all of the people who took part in Basra, in the murder of Uthman, who left Basra and had Uthman killed, except Hurqus ibn Zuhair. All of the others were killed. Hurqus ibn Zuhair went to his people, and they were taken over by tribalism, because he's one of their nobles, so they refused to turn him over. When the army of Aisha radiallahu anha comes demanding to deliver Hurqus, they refused, and they came out to meet them with 6,000 warriors. And they said, we will not turn him over except with our blood. And they hid him. So all except Hurqus ibn Zuhair were killed. This is how the event in al-Basra ended. And now Talha and Zubair enter the masjid to talk to Uthman ibn Hunayf at the time of Isha. Uthman ibn Hunayf, the governor. They just go in peacefully and to talk to him. So Uthman ibn Hunayf was at his home and he was delayed. So when he was late, Talha and Zubair told the Emir of their army, who was Abdurrahman ibn Utab ibn Usaid, lead the people in prayer. You lead the people, because Uthman ibn Hunayf is late now. He's delayed. So the guards of Uthman ibn Hunayf, they refused. They wouldn't let Abdurrahman ibn Utab lead the salah. He's not the governor. So they started to fight in the masjid. And the group of Talha and Zubair became victorious in this fight. So they sent a group of people to go and bring Uthman ibn Hunayf to the masjid, to turn over al-Basra. He refused to come with them. Talha and Zubair sent people to bring him, and he refused to go with them. So this delegation insisted, and he refused. So they insulted him, and they hit him in his home. And then they started to pull his beard, and plucked his beard until not a hair was left on his face. And then they pulled him physically to Talha and Zubair. So when they saw this, they were shocked. We didn't order you to do this to the man. So they sent to Aisha radiallahu anha, and she says, leave him alone. So he leaves. This is Uthman ibn Hunayf radiallahu anhu. He leaves al-Basra. He goes to Ali immediately. And when Ali heard the news and how many innocent people were killed in the battles of Basra, and how it was taken by force, and how they did this to his governor, he said, now it is halal to fight them. Because he is the Khalifa. He's the Khalifa. They can't do this to him. So he said some comforting words to Uthman ibn Hunayf, and he tells him, we left you as a sheikh and you came back to us as a young man, because he has no beard. So he made up his mind to go and fight the army of Mecca, because now they're taking over his city by force. And they will do this from city to city. They're going to do this, because the people of Fitna came out of Basra, they came out of Al-Kufa, they came out of Egypt. So they're going to move on to every city until they do this. So he decided that he now has to stop them by force. And Talha and Zubair, like their army didn't come to take over Basra, but the people of Fitna forced them into this situation. Every time things are going to calm down, they attack and they start the fighting and they cause the commotion. Now they started to call the people of Basra to join them. And they started to join them, including the people earlier who were neutral and didn't want to join the Fitna, the people in Basra. They started to join the army of Mecca. In their minds, they saw that they were able to kill the murderers of Uthman, while Ali radiallahu anhu was not able to. So now the army of Zubair and Talha and Aisha radiallahu anha grew substantially, and this encouraged them even more. It gave them more encouragement that we can do it now. So they sent a letter to the Amsar in the different areas, telling them to join them. First they sent a letter to Sham, and then they sent a letter to Al-Kufa and Yamama. So now even the people of Al-Madinah started to come out to join the army of Mecca in Al-Basra. They're saying that if Amir al-Mu'mineen is not able to bring the murders of Uthman to justice, we'll take a revenge ourselves. So then the army of Aisha radiallahu anha grew to 30,000 warriors. And Ali radiallahu anhu only had 10,000. And the people of Fitna were embedded in his army. So it's a difficult situation. When he saw their strength increased, he heads to Al-Kufa. Because there were many who supported Ali. Remember we said that Abu Musa al-Ash'ari was the governor of Al-Kufa and all of it was under the control of Ali. So Ali, when he sees the army of Talha and Zubair going to 30,000 and he only has 10,000, he goes to Al-Kufa. Because he has many supporters there. And he goes to ask for their help. So he sends messengers to the people of Kufa with Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr as-Siddiq and Muhammad ibn Ja'far with letters to the people of Kufa. And he says, I have chosen you in the letter to assist the religion of Allah so we can bring the ummah back to being united and to become brothers again. So the governor of Kufa, who was put there by Ali radiallahu anhu, Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, or he wasn't necessarily put there by Ali, but Ali left him there because he pledged to Ali. When Muhammad ibn Ja'far and Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr came to them, he had the people gathered and they read the letter of Ali to Abu Musa and those in the gathering. So then Abu Musa radiallahu anhu, and remember he's the one who narrated the hadith of Fitna, he got up and he spoke and he tells the people, this is a fitna. And that there are two options, to sit for the sake of Allah or to go out for the sake of dunya. Sit for the sake of Allah or you go out for the sake of the dunya. And he tells them, this is a fitna, don't take part in this. And this is the governor of Ali radiallahu anhu advising his people against what Ali wants. So no one at all goes out with them to join the army of Ali. So then the messenger started to speak harshly to Abu Musa, saying, you're the governor of Ali and you say this to the people? And then Abu Musa tells them, Wallahi, the bay'ah of Uthman is on my neck and that of your companion, meaning Ali radiallahu anhu. So if there is not an option but to fight, then we will not fight anyone until we are done with the murders of Uthman. So if we have to fight, we're not going to fight until we kill the murders of Uthman. I'm not going to go fight the army of Aisha radiallahu anha before going out to kill the murders of Uthman. So now the governor of Ali is also on the opinion of Talha and Zubair. So the messengers return to Ali with the news. So Ali chooses Malik ibn al-Harith, who is known as Al-Ashtar al-Nukhai. And he is one of the murderers of Uthman, but he is also one of the nobles of Kufa. So that's why Ali sends him. Perhaps he may be able to convince them. And he sent him with Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu. And they went to Abu Musa al-Ash'ari and they spoke to him. And he did not respond to them, but he gathered the people. He spoke, saying, O people, verily the companions of the Prophet ﷺ who lived with him are the most knowledgeable of Allah and His Messenger than those who were not with him. Showing them the place of the companions. And we have a right upon you, and we give you advice that you don't take lightly the Sultan of Allah and not transgress against Allah, and to take those who came to you from Medina, meaning the people of Fitna, and send them back to it so they are gathered there together. This is a difficult fitna. The one who is asleep during it is better than the one who is awake, and the one who is awake is better than the one who is sitting, and the one who is sitting is better than the one who is standing, and the one who is standing is better than the one who is riding. So sheathe your swords and ansilul asinna, which means put a cover over the spearheads, because obviously people didn't carry the spear uncovered like that, you can hurt people. She tells them, so sheathe your swords and ansilul asinna, cover your spearheads, and break your weapons and assist the oppressed until this affair ends and the fitna ends. So no one leaves out with them. So Ali can't leave this situation as it is. He was hoping that, especially in Kufa, he would get the most help. So he sends Al-Hasan, the son of Ali radiallahu anhu, and Ammar ibn Yasir radiallahu anhu. And they entered the masjid and the people gathered. So they spoke to Abu Musa. Al-Hasan began and he said, why are you stopping the people from aiding us? Wallahi, we only want to make things right. And the like of Ali is not feared. Meaning, you do not fear Ali that he might do some injustice to people. He's a just man. And he tells him, you have spoken the truth, may my father and mother be sacrificed for you. But the one who is consulted is entrusted, meaning I have to be truthful to you, you're consulting me. And I have heard the Prophet ﷺ say, there will be a fitna. And the one who is sitting is better than the one who is standing. And the one who is standing is better than the one who is walking. And the one who is walking is better than the one who is riding. And Allah has made us brothers and made our blood and wealth unlawful. He's saying our blood and our wealth are haram. So now who should the people listen to? Abu Musa al-Ash'ari radiallahu anhu, and he has good arguments, or should they listen to the grandson of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? So then Ammar radiallahu anhu, Ammar ibn Yasir, he got up and he said, Abu Musa has spoken the truth, but help Amir al-Mu'mineen. So radiallahu anhu, he wasn't a very good orator, or he wasn't very convincing. He just said, Abu Musa spoke the truth, but help Amir al-Mu'mineen. So then Al-Hasan says to Ammar, sit down, you're not the one for this task. So then he calls Al-Qa'qa'. He says, O Qa'qa', stand up. And Al-Qa'qa' stood. He said, O people of Kufa, I am to you an advisor, and I care for you, and I want what is good for you, and I will tell you that which is the truth. As for what was said by the Amir Abu Musa, it is the truth. But there is no place for it now. He's telling them it's too late. The fitna has already progressed. So we're not in a situation where we just sit back and wait for everything to become okay. We're in a situation now where we have to take action in order to fix the fitna. So Al-Qa'qa' radiallahu anhu brings an excellent point. He says it is necessary to have an authority to organize people and to support the oppressed. And this is Amir al-Mu'mineen. You have given him bay'ah, and he has called you time and time again. And you have to assist him to support the oppressed and humiliate the oppressor. And he calls you to rectify conditions. So assist him. He's telling people to go out to him. To Ali radiallahu anhu. His arguments that people can't live without the Khalifa, and they can't live without authority in organizing things and removing oppression. So one of the leaders of Kufa, his name is Sayhan ibn Sawhan. He gets up, and he's one of the leaders of Kufa, and he says, O people, we have to assist in this issue, and this is your Amir, and he's in charge of this ummah and its affairs, and he is faqih in deen, and whoever goes to him, we will go with them. So now we're getting some of the leaders of Kufa want to go out with the army of Ali radiallahu anhu. And then Al-Hasan says, respond to your Amir and go to your brothers. Wallahi, the people of stature and intelligence and position call upon you to respond to them. And the Amir, the believer, says, I have come out either oppressing or oppressed. So Ali is saying there are two options. I'm coming out, maybe I'm an oppressor, or maybe I'm oppressed. If you find me oppressed, help me. And if you find me to be oppressing, fight me. He's telling them, look into the issue and decide for yourself. If I'm an oppressor, then you can fight me. But if I'm oppressed, then you have to assist me. And then he says, and Wallahi Talha and Zubair were the first to give me bay'ah and the first to leave me. And then he says to them, have I stolen wealth, or have I changed the laws of Allah so you don't obey me? And have I done anything that's bad, that you should not obey me? He says to them that I'm upon the truth. There's no reason for you to disobey me. So get up and command the good and forbid the evil. So then when Al-Hasan said that, the people got up and they went out with him and they left Abu Musa radiallahu anhu. And with that, 10,000 warriors came from Kufa to join the army of Ali. So now Ali radiallahu anhu moves to meet the army of Talha and Zubair. And he doesn't want to fight with them initially. So he sent a man that's respected both by Talha and by Zubair ibn al-Awwam. He sends him a man to talk to them, and he is Al-Qa'qa' ibn Amr radiallahu anhu. So he goes out in front of the army of Al-Basra, and he went to Aisha radiallahu anha. And he asked her, O mother, what brought you here to this town? And she says, O son, to make amends between the people. And then he tells her, call for Talha and Zubair, so they hear what I have to say. And they sent for them, and they came. And then Al-Qa'qa' says, I have asked the mother of the believers, what has brought her here? And she said, to make amends between people. So what do you say? Do you agree or disagree? And they said, we agree. Talha and Zubair, they agree, that's why we came. So then he tells them, Al-Qa'qa' continues, tell me, what is it that you came to amend? What is it that you came to fix? And he says, Wallahi, if we know what it is, we will help you in it. And if we repudiate it, if we don't like it, or if we refuse it, then that means it's something that doesn't amend and doesn't fix to begin with. So they said, the murderers of Uthman, this is what we came to fix. Verily, this affair, if it is left alone, it is like leaving the Quran. So they're making a mention to the qisas here, to kill the murderers. You say, if we leave the murderers of Uthman, it's as if we left the Quran. And Ali is not able to do the qisas. So they're not coming against Ali as the Khalifa or anything. They're coming out to kill the murderers of Uthman. So then Al-Qa'qa' radiallahu anhu says, you have killed the murderers of Uthman from the people of Al-Basra. And before killing them, you were closer to being upright than when you killed 600 men, and then 6,000 were moved because of them. You asked for Hurqus ibn Zuhair, and 6,000 prevented you from him. If you leave them, then you left the Quran. And then he tells them that which you came for caused more problems than the death of Uthman. The death of Uthman, one person died. And now 600 plus people died because of you trying to avenge the death of one man. And then he tells them, if you can't get to this one man and you leave him, then you leave the Quran. And if you want to get to him, you will have the fitna of having to fight 6,000. So you were better before you left than today. Before starting this battle, you were in a better situation than now. So it shows how wise Al-Qa'qa' radiallahu anhu was. So then Aisha radiallahu anha tells him, so what do you say then? And then he says, I say that this issue can be resolved by calming things down. Instead of causing more commotion, let's calm things down. If it calms down and the Khalifa is in charge, we can easily capture Hurqus ibn Zuhair. So if you give us the pledge, then it is a sign of good and a glad tidings of mercy, and we will get revenge with you. And if you refuse except to pursue this, then it's a bad sign. So pursue what is right and don't expose us to tribulations that will overtake us and it will overtake you as well. So these are the words of Al-Qa'qa' radiallahu anhu. And then he says, by Allah, I say this and I invite you to it, while I am afraid that it doesn't go through until Allah takes what He wills from this ummah. Because this that has happened is not like a man killing a man, or a person killing another person, or a tribe killing a man. So he's telling them, what's happening is not like one man killing another man, or a person killing another person, but it has large groups of people involved. That's why this is a bigger fitna. So then they thought about it, and then they said to Al-Qa'qa', you have spoken the truth. You have spoken truly. And then they said to him, if Ali comes, and he is upon your opinion, then this affair will be upright. Everything's going to be good. So we're not going to pledge, but we're going to wait. We'll give him a chance, and if things settle down and he kills the murderers of Uthman, then that's what we want. But if things settle down and he doesn't kill the murderers of Uthman, then we're going to go out and we're going to kill him ourselves. And if he agrees to that, and if Ali agrees to these stipulations, we're going to be with him. They agreed, and Al-Qa'qa' immediately goes to Ali radiallahu anhu and he tells him. And Ali was satisfied and he was very happy. And he approached him and sent to make sure that they were still upon the agreement. And he found them still upon the agreement. And they sent to him and to make sure that he's upon the agreement. And they found him to agree. So then Ali got up to speak and he praised Allah. And then he says, I am, insha'Allah, tomorrow returning. So leave as well. He's telling everyone leave, everyone go back. And then he said, let not anyone who helped against Uthman in any way come out with me. Remember now, since the murder of Uthman radiallahu anh, they've been embedded in his army and he can't get rid of them. Look what happens when he gets strength. Now that the army of Mecca is with him, he says, let not anyone who had anything to do with the murder of Uthman go back with me to Medina. So now you can see the signs of strength showing up already. And then the people spent the night with the intention that next day they're all going back to their cities, to Medina, to Mecca, back to Basra. And the Emir of the believers is going back to Medina without any of the killers of Uthman in his army. And the fitna is over. And the people spent that night, and it was the best night spent since the death of Uthman. At the same time, it was the worst night for the people who murdered Uthman. Because now when the people agreed, it means their end. It means they're all going to be killed. So their leaders met and they discussed, and they came with only one solution. Some suggested that they should kill Ali. And then Abdullah ibn Saba said, what a bad idea. If we add the murder of Ali to that of Uthman, wallahi the people will gather against us. Others have made suggestions, but all of them in the end they agreed to the suggestion of Ibn Sawda, Abdullah ibn Saba, who says, my opinion is not to allow the people to agree. And the only way to do that is to begin the fighting again.